the following conversation is going to be between Norman Miller and Tim and I. We talk about the canoe trip and the Missouri River. He paddled upstream, did a Lewis and Clark adventure, and I hope you guys enjoy. All of his contact stuff will be in the description. His website with all of the information on all the people who've done the Missouri River, and his Facebook page that has everybody who's done parts of the Missouri and who does the Missouri. It's a pretty active Facebook page, and you probably would enjoy it if you enjoy this podcast. And welcome. This is Berry Adventures, and welcome to the Dingleberry community.
Like,
Go later.
go find a spot. Not in front of us. All right.
So, what made you so obsessed with the Missouri River? Go lay down.
Wanted to ask you for a while.
I done the river in 2004 during the Lewis and Clark bicentennial, the 50th anniversary. And I had been planning it since 2000 to do the river because I wanted to retrace the Lewis and Clark Trail.
Yeah.
When I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
We used to come out on our family vacations out west because I grew up in Michigan. We drive out here when I was 5 or 6. And my parents would show me all these, historic markers. Lewis and Clark went through here, Lewis and Clark. I'm like, who's Lewis and Clark? Who are these guys? I thought it was one guy. I thought his first name was Lewison, his last name Clark. So who's this Lewis and Clark?
When I was a little kid, I used to think that there was a husband and wife.
So anyway, so I said, 20 years ago this summer is when I did my trip. When you guys are, 5?
One. It would have been one.
21?
I'm only 20.
Yeah.
So, and I did it the hard way. I started in St. Louis, and I paddled all the way to here to the Headwater State Park. It took me 17 weeks to get upstream here. And then my intent was to paddle the Jefferson River up to Dillon where you guys were, but it was a drought year and it was August. It was like hardly any water in the river. So I backpacked from Three Forks here 5 weeks to Orofino, Idaho, which is where the Clearwater River is. And that's where Lewis and Clark actually put back on after they rode over the mountains on a horse and then paddled the Clearwater, Snake, and the Columbia out to the Pacific Ocean. 199-day trip, 6 months. So I had all this info and data on the Missouri River, and I'm like, God. And then people after, 2005, heard that I had done the river, and they wanted information on it. And I started, corresponding with all these other paddlers. And then, 5 years later, Facebook was created, and I said, maybe I'll start a Facebook group to compile all this information and in one spot so people can have to search the internet or wherever to find the information. And long story short, that's how it's materialized. And 14 years later, it's got almost 4,500 members, all the United States. And anybody that has done the whole river since it's been created or kind of know each other now because of all this information sharing, gathering of
Facebook group.
Yeah. And you guys.
So that's probably where the obsession is. I love the river. I love being on the river. Sorry. Your editor's going to have to work on that.
Yeah, all right.
So back up.
Rivers.
So, all that information, it was just like obsessed by the river, and I still am. I think it's got such an amazing history, fascinating history, from Native Americans up into Lewis and Clark and the steamboat era and all the early explorers. It's just awesome. So it's great. And like helping you guys, it kind of brings me, I'm at home working and doing all that stuff, but by like being a part of your trip in some way, it kind of brings me back to being on the river. Because I know what I probably have every bend memorized. That's how burned in my brain it is. So it's cool. It's fun.
Yeah, no, you've been really helpful.
Cool.
Texting us and telling us where we should go and stuff. And,
Yeah.
and like, we could have done it without you, but it would have been more exciting, you know, where it's like, where you're like, hey, there's this dam right here, and this is how you should portage it. And we took the wrong side on that one. We took the right side of the big thing,
Of the
and then we had
island.
to like.
Oh, you
haul-
went right side.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
you didn't
yeah,
tell me that.
yeah.
That's a challenge
Yeah.
over on that
So
side.
so we pulled our canoe back up it, and then we paddled like madmen across to the island that you said to get onto, and then we kind of looked at it and
and then we ran
paddled.
it. But
Oh,
it
funny.
is really nice because you just text us and you tell us like, hey, this is how you need to do this, and it's comforting, you know,
Yeah,
to have
yeah.
somebody who's watching and telling you what you need.
Yeah,
to
and
do.
I'm not the only now. With these Facebook groups and those spot things you got, there's other people watching that have done the river
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
And they're like, sometimes they'll text me, or I'll text them, and somebody will, not you specifically, but they'll say like, "Do you see where they're going? Why are they going that way?" Well, I haven't checked in a while.
Yeah.
There's no right way or wrong way. It's just whatever way, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, as long as
they're-
nobody dies.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no.
Yeah, you don't want it to get to a point where it's like, to me, which is kind of how the Mississippi group is.
Uh-huh.
It's almost like you're handheld the whole way. You're passed on from 100 miles down to someone else. I hope that Missouri doesn't get that way.
No,
It's nice
it hasn't been like that at all.
Yeah.
It just like a couple things like those dams that we hit that we didn't really know about those dams. Like you can kind of see them. We didn't really do a whole lot of research, to be honest. We kind of were just
Yeah.
like, we'll do it.
Yeah.
And so it's been kind of nice just to know a little bit of what's next. And we've
Like,
seen
we
stuff
think we
that
passed all the dams since we're done with the Beaverhead, and then
and then,
you message us, hey, there's 3 on the
Yeah, I
this,
forgot
and it's
to
like,
tell you.
oh wait, he was talking about the Jefferson River, not the Beaverhead River. That's why there was like 5 dams on this that we didn't know about.
So few people do what you guys have done up, start up there. So it's kind of forget what's all involved up there.
Yeah.
And we've hit some fences that I don't think anybody knew about. They were pretty new.
Yeah, like that one guy, there's that one dam that we went over. Or it wasn't really, it was kind of just a diversion.
Yeah,
But
they
he's
put
like,
rocks
that's
up.
new, and that's from even last year, and that's
Yeah.
one of the fishing guides, so he should know the rivers better than even you, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So,
Because he probably does that section
so
all
I
the
mean,
time.
it's changed quite a bit. That we've
Fishing
seen.
guys are helpful. They know the river really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't hurt to ask.
Yeah, that one guy gave us a good part of, we met, what was his name, Cam?
Him and Cam.
Him and Cam, they were married, but he was taking an off day on Memorial Day, so we met him and he told us like about Craig, and he told us
Couple
a
about
couple
different
places in Twin Bridges to go, and told us about some of the dams that we were
Yeah,
going to go
yeah,
around, like
yeah.
that first, what's that one? The first one you hit on Beaverhead,
Where there's a campsite there.
where the campsite.
No, that was Brad that told us about that one.
Okay.
But he was also
Maybe
a
that's
fishing
Brad.
guide.
Yeah.
But he told us about that spot to camp.
Yeah,
They have
it was
been
really
very
nice.
helpful.
So yeah, the fishing guys have been pretty sweet.
Camping spots have been really nice. Like people have told us about it a couple
Yeah,
times.
nice. That's helpful.
And then I guess did you start the website, the Missouri website, with all of the book information and everything?
I did. That's only been on, so it's MissouriRiverPaddlers.com. It's only been up maybe 6 years, 7 years. And I don't know if you're aware, a lot of that stuff is actually on the Facebook page. The top is a tab that says files.
Mhm.
If you click that, there's all kinds of stuff. People's trip reports, and
Uh-huh.
interviews, and newspaper stuff. And I, at the time, didn't think Facebook was going to last. I don't know if it's going to be around in 20 years. And I didn't want to lose all that data, all
Yeah.
that information and resources. So I just said, I'm going to do a website. That way, it's still there. Facebook just disappears.
Floats.
All this stuff is still
Uh-huh.
there.
Especially like 6 years ago, Facebook was kind of losing popularity, like Instagram
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And is that how you found all those people? Is through Facebook? All the people who've done it and all the books and stuff.
Well, since I did my trip in 04, people were contacting me got a hold of me somehow, either phone or.
Yeah, tell us about this. We're so young, it's always been the internet.
I know, it's hard for me to
Pre-internet.
explain that. I mean, even when I did my trip in '04, I didn't have a cell phone on my trip because it was like
How did people find out about you though?
I had a website
Yeah.
because the internet was out, but that's fairly new
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Like '98 when it
Were
really
you in like
took
a lot
off.
of newspapers and stuff? Right
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
too?
newspapers, TV, interviews, and stuff. So all that was new. So when I was planning my trip, I planned in 2000 to 2004. I would be writing letters.
Hmm.
You know, I'd write letters to gear companies.
Yeah.
You know, now you type an email to
Yeah.
them or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back
And
then, you
good luck
wrote a
getting
letter,
response.
and put a stamp on it, and waited 3 weeks to get a reply. Now you can find a reply within an hour or the next
Yeah.
day from the company if they're going to help you out. But yeah, you really have to think about back then planning how was it? How did I do that? Yeah, I don't even recall how I found maps and stuff.
Yeah.
Because there must have been some early websites. And I remember I wrote or called somebody, and I had hard copy maps. I didn't use anything off of
Yeah.
technology. I printed maps
Yeah.
of all my canoe adventures that I've done. And I still prefer maps over a phone because I want to see the big scale. I hate
Yeah.
being limited to just that little area I'm at. I want to see like what's 20 miles that way, 20 that way.
And
or
actually get
whatever.
some detail out of it.
Yeah, it's helpful
Different
too.
kinds of detail,
Different
yeah.
roads coming in if you need to get off the river to walk somewhere.
And it's always works. Like I kind of wish we would have brought maps because we're kind of pre-map era, or before. We're after
Post.
maps, post map era.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
just uses their phone, but like when you don't have internet, your phone map doesn't really
Yeah.
work.
That's the nice thing about like the Jeep, like the
Yeah,
Garmin
the
app.
Garmin
The
and
Garmin
stuff.
app still works.
Yeah.
But it would be kind of nice to have an actual like paper.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Like when I did the Yukon, everybody has like the little maps from between Whitehorse and Dawson. They have a whole map and they have all the campsites and they rank the campsites and everything. And I never had one until I met up with the German guy. And he had one. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so nice. I missed so many nice campsites I could have camped at.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, you can
Yeah.
find a lot more information if you have the right
Yeah.
map.
Yeah.
Oh,
compared to
totally. Yeah.
Maps on like your phone.
Maps are great. I love maps. Just gives you good ideas too. Then you can kind of plan ahead too. Because I always try to think about 3 or 4 days ahead a little bit. Like, okay, I need to get there, and try to logistically plan my each days or whatever
Yeah.
coming upstream. Or, it's nice to see a bigger picture. Yeah, I don't know how you guys. Yeah,
It's weird to think back that far.
it's
It's
not
been
that far though.
20
either.
years.
The technology is so mind blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember when I was 4, I broke my leg and we called the hospital on a bag phone. There
Yeah.
was no cell phones or anything.
Well, even like when I started the Facebook group in 2010, a lot of the paddlers that had blogs would update when they got to a town and go to the library and use their computer in the library.
Really?
Yeah.
Now everybody does it on the devices
Yeah.
because they can do everything now,
Yeah.
emails and texts, and keyboards, and the whole thing. And you can
Create a
just-
whole website off your phone.
yeah, you can.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
so. I think that's helpful in some ways because more people are getting information out there, sharing their story, because it's so easy to do it, to share your story. You know, the Missouri, we get what, 1 to 15 people would do it every year, but like the Mississippi, they're like 30 to 70.
Yeah.
And they're all sharing the story, or for the most part. Some people don't want any part of
Yeah.
anybody knowing.
Yeah.
That's fine too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think so many more people do the Mississippi compared to the Missouri?
That's an easy one. I've talked with a couple other paddlers. I know John Sullivan, who started the Mississippi page, was part of that. Logistically, the Mississippi's in the middle of the country, so it's a lot easier to get to.
Yeah.
Some people, all the major cities are back east, and they can start in Minneapolis versus driving to Montana is a little harder
Huh.
for people.
Yeah.
A lot of people think the Mississippi is the longest and largest longest river
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
United
Yeah.
States.
Not.
So they want to do the Mississippi, and
Yeah.
even after the trip, they still think that. And in fact, it's this one.
But this is just a tributary.
Yeah.
It's the other way around.
yeah. Yeah, we agree, but
Oh god! Otherwise, we're going to be fighting here.
Yeah, fight me.
No, the river is determined by its longest source to sea, and there's 3,800 miles from Broward Spring
Mhm.
to the Gulf of Mexico, which comprises the Missouri River drainage.
So why
and
do you
then-
think that everybody recognizes that one as the longest? Why does it flow? Why does the Missouri flow into the Mississippi and not the Mississippi flow into the Missouri?
Well, depends on who you talk to, as far as
You know, like, but why on a
Well-
map is it called the Mississippi all the way down?
well, it's because they didn't even know about this river when they made the map. Explorers started on the East Coast, Lewis and Clark, all those early ones. There wasn't any map beyond the Missouri or beyond the
And
Mississippi
they just
River at
never
St.
feel like
Louis.
changing it.
So nothing was mapped. Had they started on the Pacific and explored inland and found the Missouri before the Mississippi, well, it might have been different.
Yeah,
Right.
so it's just really a time frame kind of thing.
Yeah, it was named the Mississippi. You know, the explorers and the early sailing ships would sail up, the mouth of the Mississippi by New Orleans, and
Do all
that river
trade.
was named way, I don't even know when it was named, 1500s maybe, the Mississippi? Way, 300 years before the Missouri was even discovered by, European Americans. So, and then logistically, the Mississippi's kind of easier too, because there's a lot of more towns along the way, more people, and I think that's probably why more people do that.
It's less remote.
Less remote,
Yeah.
you're not going to get as serious trouble.
Is there less lakes on the Mississippi too?
Yeah, and they're smaller lakes, like Cass and Tippin, the early ones on the Mississippi. It's funny. You see on the Missouri paddlers page or the Mississippi paddlers page, people be complaining about, oh my God, it's taken us one whole day to cross Lake Pippin, which is, I guess, the biggest one, or one of the biggest. Or Winnie, there's another one.
What, Fort Peck takes you like 10 days?
Yeah, 7 to 8 days. Hawaii could take you 3 weeks,
Yeah.
20 days.
Yeah.
If you want to see lake crossings, come out to
Yeah.
the Dakotas or Montana.
It's gonna be hell.
Those are nothing. One day to cross the lake, that would be great.
We'll have to.
Yeah.
This is before the lake, guys, and then we'll have to make a podcast after the lakes for us.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear your
Yeah.
after the fears subsided on how you feel about.
Well, I kind of
Accurate.
got an idea on like Oahe and Sharp because all my family's from South Dakota,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
Yeah, we've
kind
been
of
there.
familiar. We've been there, and then when I was a little kid, and we lived like 30 miles away from Lake Sakakawea in North
Yeah.
Dakota,
yep.
in a town called Manning. So I mean, I kind of know what that lake's gonna be like, but I mean, and then I drove right by it when I went up to the Yukon last year.
Yeah.
So I kind of got a fresher
Yeah.
version of it in my mind. So I mean, we kind of know what we're getting into, but doing it on
Yeah.
a boat, on a canoe is going to be a lot different.
You just got it one day,
It
one
is
day
a
at
one
a
day.
time, one stroke at a time.
Yeah.
You can't think about the end of the lake. You got to think about right now. Or you don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, that's what killed me on
Play,
Local Bar.
play it safe. Don't be way out in the middle
No.
of that damn thing.
That's silly.
That's
That's.
Stay close
I'm a
to
good
shore.
swimmer, but that's. You just look out, and if you're like, nah, I can't swim that, you're too far.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you don't really need to be out in the middle if you happen to need to cross. Otherwise, you're like here to that tree over there.
Yeah,
Here,
staying close.
here to the fence or whatever. Or, if it's dead calm, you could be here to the road, shore,
Yeah.
or whatever. But,
I heard those storms pop up pretty fast,
Yeah,
though,
yeah,
so you kind of want
they
to stay
do.
close.
and you'll see that you get good at reading weather. I
Mhm.
felt like I was like the best weather person ever after my trip because I could read the clouds and understand all these like big cumulus clouds and we call them the big thunderstorms.
Oh, the
The-
bell. clouds or whatever.
Yeah,
you call
like
those.
the anvil shaped.
Yeah.
The really bad thunderstorms, you could see
Yeah, I used to
those.
know all my clouds, but
When you get in the Dakotas or even eastern Montana, you could see them 60 miles away. And,
Okay.
you know, you could plan on it, especially if you know the direction that they're coming. If you're like headed that way, and you see the storms coming this way, and you know that's the wind direction, well, you and that storm are gonna collide.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good time to plan ahead.
Yeah. Decide where
If
you're
it's
gonna
a tornado,
set up.
get the hell off, or if it's just bad wind and rain, you know, maybe set up camp early or wait it out. Sometimes I knew that the storm was only going to last 30 minutes and be clear.
Mhm.
I wouldn't get out of. I would just put my rain gear on and sit, just let it pour. You know, after it quit, it would calm down, wind would die, sun would pop out, and take your rain gear off, and
Keep going.
continue on.
How many times have you done the Missouri?
The entire length, just that one time.
Just one time
Yeah.
going up it?
But I've been on a lot of it through Montana. You know, this area, since it's right near my home, I'm on it all the time.
Yeah.
I'll paddle this section here to Townsend 6-10 times a summer. And then I also guide in the Missouri Breaks National Monument out of Fort Benton. And I'll be on that maybe 30 days in the summer. And then we had a big Missouri River Paddlers Rendezvous 2 summers ago. We started at Fort Randall Dam and paddled to Sioux City, Iowa, 7 days. And we had 100 paddlers from 25 states. 90% of them hooked on the whole river. It's cool to all be together. And we spent 7 nights out.
so are you gonna do another one of those?
Yeah, we've been doing about every 5 years. Our very first one was in 2015, and that was from Columbia, Missouri to the confluence with the Mississippi. And we had about 70 paddlers from 21 states and 5 countries. And that was awesome.
So is that kind of crammed trying to paddle with that many people, or are you guys
Now we're all
spread
spread
out?
out. Spread out a couple hours. Everybody paddled their own rate or whatever.
You guys all camp at the same spot?
Yeah, pretty much. A few times people would be, want to be away from the crowd. Understandable, but we had like things planned on some of the nights, like music or some event in some town, or have something going on, big cookout or whatever.
It's like a mob of like canoers just
It's
show
pretty-
up to your
It's
town.
pretty cool. They were great. Oh my god! Dave Miller wrote the guidebook. I don't know if you guys got a copy of it.
No,
we
we
didn't get
don't.
a guide.
He just stayed with us. Him and his wife were driving through Montana last week, and he stayed with us one night. I'm not sure where I'm going with this. Sorry.
It's alright. No, that's how life is. Sometimes you're going so
Oh.
weird.
Just the other day, he was asking when's the next rendezvous.
Oh,
That's all.
yeah.
That's all. Right. They're kind of hard to plan.
Yeah.
Probably 2027.
Okay.
So
In like
3 more years.
We'll hold you to that.
Yeah.
2027, I'll call you up.
You
and
be
be like,
there.
when's the party?
And we'll probably do it in the lower Missouri again, somewhere around maybe Kansas to somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah. It's easier logistically for people to go in that part than coming up here. People
Yeah.
say, "Yeah, I'd have one in Montana."
It's pretty far
Too
away
much
from
planning.
everybody.
You wouldn't get 100 people. It's too hard logistically to get 100 people on this river.
And there's not very many towns up here that
Exactly.
you can stop
And
and
there's
yeah,
We had the
dams.
portage. to
a
do
bunch.
that,
And then
100 people.
there's not a whole lot of camping.
Exactly.
There's definitely not enough
Yeah.
camping for 100 people. It'd be
Yeah.
hard to put 100 people on this spot, and it's
Yeah.
pretty good size.
You would it'd get pretty
I guess you
devastating.
could camp the Jeffersons. They have like what 35 acres of public land. Is that their biggest chunk on the
On
Jefferson?
that first one on the what's it called? Not the first one, but it's
That
up
they
there.
bought land.
Oh, Lost Tomahawk, that site?
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah, I don't know
is
how
that-
big
Yeah,
that is. 10 acres.
I was reading on their thing. It says 30 acres,
Oh,
but I
maybe.
don't know if that's all. I don't know if that's all camp.
Oh, yeah.
I
This
know
one's
that-
big. I think they
Yeah.
own all the way to the fence here.
Yeah.
This one's
Yeah, this is 5.
15. Oh, it's 5?
So,
It's
yeah.
bigger.
You might be able to
It does
fit
feel
100
bigger,
people
but
here, but
According to their website, it said 5 point something. 5.4
Yeah.
something, I think.
Yeah, it would be tricky.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of dams and stuff in between here and wherever if you started at like Twin Bridges or something.
Yeah, you'd have to do a lot.
Just wouldn't do it.
It would
Just
just be
wouldn't
too
do
much
that.
work. Yeah.
Totally.
No.
Yeah. But no, I understand. This area is very beautiful. I think that's
Keep
probably
it
why
to
they're
smaller groups.
Yeah. See, it's so beautiful that it's because nobody's here.
Okay. But,
Yeah, it's funny too. So many people rush through the state. They put on their first day and they're
Like
so
Jim.
gung-ho. Slow down.
yeah. We've been trying to go pretty slow.
You guys are going pretty slow.
The
which is
fishing's
good.
been good, and the view is really great.
we were like, Montana's going to be like the best
Yes,
state,
so
so
we're gonna go
we're going to go
slowest.
slowest in
Yeah.
Montana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody that goes fast, you hear it after their trip, they go, I wish I would have spent more time in Montana.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
because I know, like, the Nebraska part's really boring.
Yeah.
we live in
Kansas
Nebraska. We know.
Missouri's really boring.
I disagree.
Did you like that part? Of
I
the-
actually did. I liked all the states. I love South Dakota.
Yeah.
It was so
Uh-huh.
green. Felt like
Yeah.
I was in Ireland. All
the
rolling
rolling hills?
hills
Yeah,
and they're
they have
green like
really great
this.
rolling.
It's a different type of thing. It might just because we're from Nebraska. And,
We're used to the
the
scenery.
towns in Missouri are really cool. They're so
Uh-huh.
historic. You know, Herman and Washington and New Haven and
Yeah.
Glasgow and St. Charles. Just a
Mhm.
lot of history. A lot of
Yeah.
cool stuff.
Yeah.
Good food and restaurants. And
We are excited to go to that glass blowing place. In New
Yeah,
Haven.
yeah.
That sounds pretty cool.
that's where you'll get a hat.
If we make it that far.
You got about 2,300 miles to that hat. So
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be well worth the paddle for the hat. Yeah.
So how many people try and put every year?
good question. It's
Just
hard to
throw out a
say.
random number.
I'd say just a handful quit,
Mhm.
couple.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Like last year,
Like how many of those people quit because of they flipped or they got hurt or
Yeah.
damaged, and then how many people quit because they just mentally can't take it?
I don't know if I can toss out an exact number, but I just remember stories of people it was way above their head.
Mhm.
I don't know. Some of the people that planned, they brought too much stuff, and they just had this grand vision and didn't plan anything else for it. Like there was one guy that didn't even make it a mile. Yeah,
Really?
he flipped over at the initial part in the boat. He had so much stuff. My friend John McFarland, who's in the group, John's done the whole river all the way from here to Vicksburg, Mississippi in 2005. He was at the start when this guy put on, and he had so much stuff that he got in the boat and immediately flipped over. Too much weight, too small a boat, no experience. In the end, he got hurt, and
Couldn't do it.
long story. Yeah, he didn't at the end of his trip. And another guy decided to take a perfectly good boat and modify it with these pontoons.
Oh, yeah.
Things that went out,
Outriggers, yeah.
outrigger. And he didn't get more than a mile and a half. And the shell and the outrigger snagged on a sandbar,
Mhm.
so stopped him. And his dog flipped out, jumped out of the boat, so the whole thing flipped over, filled with water. Guy tried to pull it to shore, you know,
yeah, too much water.
3,000 pounds of water, screwed up his entire back and the trip.
Yeah.
He should have stuck with, well, a couple of things. I don't want
You just
to
gotta stay
bash
lighter,
the guy,
yeah.
but he needed to
You need
train
different
his
water.
dog to not, flip out and not modify his boat like he did. He would have been better off in a canoe.
Anything like that, you need to be in really
He wouldn't have been
deep
stuck
water,
there.
really
That's what the
deep.
problem was. Being stuck in the sandbar and it flipped over. Like if it was just in a canoe flipped over, no big deal.
You just find your
Push
stuff.
it to
and you
shore.
go.
Yeah, float it to shore, submerge, and then
Yeah.
handle it rather than
Trying to do
Pull it.
something.
pull it off the sandbar.
Yeah.
People, yeah. inexperience, as I told you guys earlier, the guys on Fort Peck that flipped over when they shouldn't even have been out, big seas, and tried to turn around and the whole swamps.
Yeah.
Thankfully, they had a locator beacon and were rescued. Yeah, because the one guy, when the motorboat picked him up, he was unconscious. And had he not had that, he would have died. Probably both of them would have died,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Could have been in there for hours.
Yeah.
Trying to think of other people. Well, geez, sadly, one kid in 1988 drowned. They never did determine what happened there. He was found below his camp. And his camp was all packed. They could tell he camped. His name was Bill Baumgart. Camp. He had the old fire ring in his tracks in the sand. His boat was on shore. Everything was packed in it, ready to go. And his body was found like 4 miles downstream. And his life jacket was on his seat. So something happened in the morning after he packed before he got.
What part of the river was that?
It's near Culbertson, so below Fort Peck Dam and
That's
towards the
not
North
good.
Dakota border.
Yeah, that the Fort Peck Reservation's right on that border, isn't it too?
It is. I thought that it might have been some foul play, but what I think happened, and this is just my guess by reading the police report and stuff, is that I bet he had a map in a bag, a Ziploc, and he had it on his deck. He was all ready, because I personally and a lot of paddlers will have their gear ready and their map ready.
Yeah.
And I bet it blew in the water. I bet a little gust of wind came, blew his map in the water. He didn't have his life jacket on yet. He jumped in the water to save his map, and he drowned because he couldn't swim. I guess he was not a swimmer.
Is that part of the river pretty fast moving and pretty deep?
Yeah, it's deep, pretty fast. It was in I forget, this time of year in '88, like June something. I have to look on the date and ground.
I wasn't too cold.
Nah, yeah, I just think
It's just weird.
they'll never know. Nobody saw it.
Yeah.
Sadly,
And that's pretty early in the stage. Was it 88?
88.
So
88,
that's before what's that one guy that did the whole thing? He went,
before you were born.
yeah, a
Yeah.
while before
Yeah.
I was born. But yeah, no, that's too bad.
And I'm trying to think other people. There was one year where it was 110 degrees for 3-4 weeks
Wow.
in eastern Montana and North Dakota, and people were heat exhausted and they quit when they got to Williston. They couldn't handle the heat.
That's understandable.
Um, I think that's it. There's really not a lot of people who quit. They either modify the trip instead of doing it in one trip. They may
2 trips
pull
like
out in Bismarck and then finish the next year, or go to St. Louis and then do the
that.
lower Missouri to the Gulf after. Yeah, it's pretty successful. I think it helps too having the resources with the people that have done it,
Yeah.
and people are sometimes those message chats get pretty opinionated, and people,
Especially about cutting fences.
Yeah.
That one was a little.
oh, that got out of hand.
That was like,
I was almost
holy
ready
crap.
to delete that one. I was like, oh, fuck.
You guys calm down a little bit, guys. There was like a drawn line. It was like half of the people were like, "You just cut those and keep going," and everybody else was
It's
like,
yeah, you're gonna
"No,
get shot.
that's against the law,
Yeah.
or you're gonna get shot at."
Yeah.
I have met a lot of people who think you should just cut them and move on, and it's like it's
Yeah.
hard to decide.
I'm not really commenting on that.
Yeah,
Kinda-
no.
They shouldn't. I don't know. They shouldn't be there to begin with.
Yeah, a lot of
You
the
know,
times the
shouldn't be
fences
good.
are pretty bad.
Modify their strategy of keeping the cows from going in the river.
Mhm.
I don't know.
There's a couple ways that you could make fences really easy to commute through
Yeah.
and still keep cattle out.
Yeah.
But I think farmers they don't think about it because they're not canoers and
It-
they don't understand. And not a lot of people do that
Exactly. It's not
section,
worth the one canoe that goes down every 4 years.
yeah,
If it was
yeah.
like 20 people a month, I can
They would
understand.
probably think, yeah.
Maybe things will change. Yeah.
It really just depends on how many people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've been thinking about that on how to make a fence that you could actually canoe through safely and easily.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different options. Maybe one day I'll make a design and just go around and sell it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just be like, okay, I'm gonna do this for free for you, but I gotta we're gonna just change your gate here a little bit so people can go through.
I think some people put them there because they don't want people there anyways too. I think it's
Some of the
Yeah.
times it does seem like it's
Yeah.
foul play, like they're doing it just
Yeah.
to screw with you. Some of the ways they make fences, you're like, this is kind of rude.
Yep. It's a whole hot topic
Yeah.
for sure.
yeah.
Have you ever paddled the top section, like the upper Red Rock, lower Red Rock, or the
I
Luna?
have not. I've only paddled from Twin Bridges to here.
Really?
Yeah.
Why haven't you ever tried to paddle any of those things?
I don't want to deal with fences.
Even
The
just
Beaverhead was not that bad.
yeah, the Beaverhead.
Yeah, that's on my the actual paddling that because that's part of the Lewis and Clark Trail that
Uh-huh.
I walked that section in 2004 rather than paddle it. And I would like to do that.
There's
Fun bed.
like
5 fences, I think.
there's 5 fences,
Yeah.
but they
None
were
of them
definitely
were, like,
manageable.
None of them were really. You could see them. Except
Yeah.
for
And it
one.
wasn't barbed
Yeah.
wire or anything
Yeah.
like that. Like you can,
Yeah.
like there were some PVC ones that you can just flip up.
And then
Yeah,
there was
move your stuff
the
under
rest
and
were
walk
electric
underneath.
fence, and
Yeah.
you can just pick them up and go under. Things like that.
But yeah, no, like the Red Rock, it's only this wide and no desire. It doesn't
Yeah.
interest me. It's more of a threat to myself. Getting
It's-
hurt in
it's
there. I don't
like
really need to say that paddle it.
Being cocky, just
Yeah.
like I did the whole
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
like the real whole thing.
Which I think is why there's only going to be a handful that actually ever done with it. It is a handful.
Because there's only been 4 people who have done that.
There's been 13 to start at Browers and go to the Gulf.
But did they actually paddle the?
Nope. The ones that have paddled, well, the furthest one up the paddle is Paul Gamache. I forget what year, 2016 maybe. And he's a Class 5 expert whitewater
Mhm.
boater. He actually held the world record for a while for the tallest waterfall jump at
Jeez.
109 foot.
Wow. So
And it's
it was
since
not
been
a
broken
wave.
almost 200 feet.
Jeez.
No, he put on upstream of that bridge in the Red Rock Canyon. He put in closer to where you guys turned around
Okay.
in a kayak that was shorter than him.
Oh, he put
Yeah,
in
He
up like
carried a
in the
kayak
mountains.
all the way to Browers, walked down to below Lillian Lake and put on that creek.
So
That's
probably like right where
cool.
we turned around.
Yeah, in
That's
fact,
wild.
you know where the canyon is, where the red rock port opens up into the valley.
Yeah.
Like,
That's where we
flip.
stopped.
no, you were way
No,
Is
no,
that-
he's talking about right where it starts being like
when you're going
Oh,
up.
you can
Yeah,
see
yeah.
it from the road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we thought about just
Yeah.
walking up that creek spot.
There's an avalanche chute coming off of Mount Nemesis, which is there to the northeast.
Huh.
And the year he did it, sometime that winter, an avalanche went across the other side that where all that rock and broken tree is. And the river melted out underneath, so it was going through.
Oh,
So when he came around, there's just a wall of snow and a hole in the ice.
wow.
And he wasn't sure if it went through because it could have just stopped in the wall
Yeah.
and he would have drowned.
Yeah.
But he said he was going too fast, he couldn't stop, so he leaned back and went through it. I think he said it went about 50 feet and he popped out the other end of the ice.
That would be the wildest thing ever.
Your heart would be pounding so bad.
Oh, yeah.
You'd be like,
It makes me
ooh.
almost sick to my stomach.
It makes
Yeah.
me a little sick.
It's like I'm
Yeah.
gonna die right now. I think.
Oh man, when you hear about stuff, there's a town over by where we live, Loop City, and there's an irrigation ditch that goes underneath
Yeah.
the town.
Yeah.
And a little girl got sucked into it, and it took her 24 hours to make it through the whole thing, and she survived.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's enough
Yeah.
air pockets.
there was enough
like at the
air.
top.
They don't
Yeah.
know. She blacked out half of it, so she doesn't remember it. She
Oh my
wasn't
God.
very old, like,
She was only like 4 or 5. Yeah, she
wasn't,
was really young.
and she survived it, and she went through the entire the town because they pipe it under the town.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
You hear about stuff like that, and you're like.
Wow.
Or my uncle one time, he thought it would be fun to go through
Yeah,
a culvert that was going with water. But, stuff like that.
So who else have done? So Paul was the furthest up. Rod Wellington probably next
Yeah, he
at
started
the
at
bridge
Yep.
in a little rubber raft.
Yeah.
And he had permission to do those two lakes
Mhm.
because they usually close it to boating because they're breeding grounds for some waterfowl.
Yeah,
And he
it's
got
Trumpet.
trumpeter swans,
Swans,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
But he got permission to do some survey for the wildlife refuge.
Okay.
I don't know, counting birds or whatever, or water sample. I don't know. So
And he did the Red Rock.
yeah,
section.
he did that. I think everyone else hiked to Lower Red Rock Lake and put on there, like Mark Kelch, Nick Kayaza, and Joe Zimmerman put on there, and Alan Palmer, Abby and Lisa, those gals that did it a few years ago, and then the rest people either walked or boat or biked.
Like Tim did. Yeah.
Yeah, because that upper a lot of times there's no water in it. So
Uh-huh.
you use it off of irrigation.
They
It'll be
do.
bone dry. You have to. Yeah.
So, what is it, like 5 people that have done the section with all the fences then?
I think so. About 5
5.
that we know of.
That we know.
Maybe some mystery.
Some people are like, I'm going to do it, but for myself.
Yeah. Some
Yeah.
people aren't going to put any research or anything doing that.
Yeah. No, we thought about doing that section, but it just sounds horrendous. And like those one kids, they had nightmares about fences.
Oh my God, yeah.
And we're in the canoe and we're not very experienced. I think we chose the right option too because we talked to a bunch of fishing guides. They're
Yeah.
like, I don't even know how you'd stop in that river.
Yeah,
It's
you
so
can't
fast.
stop. Exactly.
Yeah, and so I think if we do decide to do the whole thing, we'll hike up sometime more in the summer
Yeah.
and then do the hike when there's no snow and then maybe paddle those lakes when they're open and
Yeah.
then decide whether or not we want to do the section with all the fences.
Right.
And doing little
Beater
crap.
kayaks
Kayak.
that you can stop fast
Yeah.
and go
Jump
fast.
out,
And,
sit on
Just
top.
bring
Sit
very
on top
minimal-
kayak.
yeah.
and just bring
Nick and Joe, when they did it at the river in I think 2016
Who's the guy with the
or
Kirby's?
14. Yeah, they did that movie. Did I send you that link to that movie? They did an awesome
Yeah,
documentary.
and I think we watched most of it, I think, or all of it, and they were talking about that, and they,
They
did it in Sin and Touch,
Hobies.
Yeah.
That's
which is a
wild.
little. Those are kind of heavy, but
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. Cause like all the guys I fish with in my fishing tournaments on kayaks, they all use Hobies, and I can imagine trying to do something
Yeah,
like this on
yeah,
a Hobie. It's like,
yeah.
wow.
my dad was talking about it. He's like, you should build like derby guys, or who they go bomb around sand dunes and stuff. They
Yeah.
have like a fence guard that pulls the fence, or coyote
Yeah.
hunters have
Yeah.
that. You should build a kayak with one of those, so if you hit a fence, it just pulls it over you. That would be kind of entertaining to do something like that. But I haven't seen the
You
fences.
need to invent one of those.
Yeah, how to go through fences in a kayak. Basically, put a
Yeah,
rope.
everybody complains about that up there.
Yeah,
No matter what happens, it's dangerous.
yeah. And there's a lot. It's very bendy, so
It's not really a paddling trip at that point.
Yeah,
It's
it's-
survival.
yeah.
Like, let's go suffer for a couple
Yeah.
more days.
Yeah, no,
Try not to
no
die.
interest in that at all.
Yeah, I kind of decided that too. 'Cause
You made the right decision.
we stopped at Lima Lake because we were thinking, well, we could put in at Lima Lake and then we could do that section. And I was reading one book that we have on the guy who did the whole trip in the '90s, and he was talking about that. Like he flipped, and then he did it an empty kayak canoe.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I was
Mark
just reading that
Spitzer, yeah.
section as we're
Yeah.
sitting on Lima Lake, and I'm just like, Dad, would you drop me off a little farther down?
Yeah.
She had a whole little mental
Yeah,
breakdown.
I was wondering, did you
Yeah.
you had some support at the upper?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were with my
So,
parents.
They were okay.
So we went to a wedding
Oh, you
in
did.
Idaho.
Oh my God.
Her
That's why
cousin
it's
got
just
married.
this time.
So her parents brought us out there with the camp. They have like the one pickup campers
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff, and we pulled the canoe on the trailer, and then so they were gonna bring us up there. We were gonna do the hike, spend the night, and then hop on the river. So we had
lots
we
of
had
help. Well, we did have kind of a
there.
time crunch because my parents needed to get back home. So
Yeah.
that's why one of the reasons why we didn't go all the way. Like we didn't want to sleep, and
Yeah.
when we were doing the hike is because
Yeah.
my parents needed to leave the next day, and I was like, I can't really sleep out here. So, but we came back down, and my parents were like, yeah, we'll just drop you off wherever you want.
That's so cool.
So yeah, we got
I wonder
lucky.
how
there.
all that worked.
Yeah,
We got lucky there.
we got good parents, and we're really young, so our parents still love us.
Your parents are probably really young yet too, right?
My parents are in their 50s,
My
and
parents
his
are all in
parents
their
are in their
60s.
60s. So they're,
You got siblings?
I do. I have two sisters, and he's got a brother and a sister.
What do they think of you doing this?
My one sister, who's in Idaho, she thinks it's cool. She's always thought I was the wild child.
Yeah.
And is like telling all her friends like what I'm doing. She would never do anything like this, and she's always glad that she's at home with her kids. But
Cool.
and then my other sister is just kind of like, you do you. You're fine.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And your siblings are pretty
Yeah.
supportive.
Yeah, both of them think that's really cool. They're like, I wish I could do it, but they never would do anything
Yeah.
like this. It's
Yeah.
you know,
We're the youngest, so it's kind of expected for us
me
to
too.
do
I'm
crazy
the
stuff.
youngest. None of my siblings would do anything like that.
Yeah.
We should ask all of the kayakers what birth order they
Yeah,
are,
there's
and
a lot of-
see if it's
lot-
all youngest.
It is. There's a lot of that actually. I've done that.
My sister Martha's gonna be so happy. She
Yeah.
she believes in the birth order stuff,
Yeah.
so she's like the youngest do these things, middle
When
children do things.
I get home, I'm gonna tell her that this weekend. Let's see.
That
Yeah,
would
get
be
back to us on that because that would be awesome.
Yeah. the youngest children doing
A
silly
lot of
things.
like, what do they call it? Only child.
a lot of
Yeah.
only childs, yeah.
Yeah.
But, no.
Definitely black sheep.
yeah. Yeah, I feel like I was definitely the black sheep of my family. So
How many siblings do you have?
I got three, two sisters and a brother, and they're all in Michigan. They're all retired.
part of Michigan.
Are they
Uh,
quite a bit older than you?
Yeah, actually they are. My oldest sister Carol, I think she's 74. Gail's like 72. My brother's 69, and I'm 61.
Oh, yeah. So there is a big gap
Yeah,
between
big
you
gap.
and your next sibling. Yeah.
Yep.
Which part of Michigan? Lower part?
Yeah, my sister Gail's in Lansing area, and my brother and sister up by Marquette, which is in the Upper
Yeah.
Peninsula.
Yeah.
That area.
My mom's a Uper.
Oh yeah, where at?
Ironwood.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there a lot.
So yeah, I've been up there.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Go up to Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean Lake Superior. But
Do you ever take your girlfriend canoeing?
Oh yeah, she's a great paddler.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really good. She's prefers kayaking. She's
Uh-huh.
really good kayak or sea kayak or river kayak. She's a great canoeer though too.
Yeah.
I usually put her in the stern and do all the paddling.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, People call them divorce boats.
yeah.
Yeah.
The tandems. Yeah.
It's because they don't switch and allow the other person to understand that part job or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
it
first
has-
couple days,
it
it was
handles-
just like,
It
woman,
handles
you
the-
need to paddle, and then she goes in the back. I'm like, you're not steering. It's like, well, now we're
or
trying to
you,
hang
not
on.
when you
me.
know,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
There's no screaming and hollering.
Yeah.
There's a lot of screaming. and
Chris,
hollering in the beginning.
I take a lot of photos. I'm an amateur photographer, so I'll sit in the bow and she can steer. And that way I can take pictures.
Yeah.
I don't need to be the one to steer. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's-
So when we go out a lot, we got solo boats, and we'll do this section a lot solo.
What solo boats do you paddle?
I have my expedition boat, which is a hybrid Kruger Seawind, which is what I used in 2004. It's a hybrid sea kayak canoe.
Yeah.
I also have a Winona. What model is it? The Voyager, I think it is.
Yeah.
Solo tripping canoe, and a solo Bell Yellowstone, which is kind of, you can run class 2 in that. We got 17 boats in our garage right now.
And I thought
We
we,
got-
were bad.
Yeah, we have.
Kayaks, sea kayaks, a racing canoe. I got a 6-person birch bark canoe. I got deck canoes. I got a Old Town 169, a Dagger Legend whitewater canoe. I just got a Mad River Explorer. We got 2 Mad River Explorers. Freaking great design. One of my clients sold it to me. It's a $2,800 boat. He
Mhm.
sold it to me for $300.
Wow.
Dang.
It's only been used for 15
So you
days.
sell it to us
Wow.
for $250?
That's a steal.
No, that's
Steal.
wild.
That is
Yeah.
nice. That's a nice price.
Really?
Can't be that.
I think he knew he was giving me his deal of the century.
Yeah.
He must have really liked you.
Yeah. Good guy.
Yeah. So, do you prefer canoes or kayaks?
Oh, definitely canoes. I'm not a big kayaker. I don't like being cramped.
Yeah.
A paddle. We got the boat that Mark Kelch used, Source to Sea, which was the first kayak descent of this river. He gave me the boat, and it's in our garage. I've used it some. I just I'm a big cramped boater.
Yeah, I was thinking about that with if we got a sea kayak, those people go a lot faster.
Definitely
But-
faster.
Holy crap, they put their legs in like this and
Yeah.
you're like, that looks like
I
hell
want to do that all.
for 3 months.
I
Yeah.
gotta be able to move around.
I don't know how they do it all the way to the Gulf.
Their legs just fall asleep and they just keep going.
And like in a canoe, you can just stand up and see off the edge.
Yeah. Or just
Can't do
stand up
that.
and see.
Yeah, stretch or move your legs around. Yeah.
Have you done a lot of whitewater rafting? You said you
Not rafting.
Or,
Done some whitewater.
canoe,
Yeah,
kayaking.
not a lot. Probably no more than class 3.
Okay.
On the Yellowstone. Yellowstone. Old Snake River down in the Tetons. Not a lot. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't think I'm that good of a white water paddler.
Huh?
Yeah. Well, people say I actually ran that section at class 3 or 4 below Moroni Dam a few years ago. That's some big ass nasty stuff in there.
pretty scary.
Yeah. And I did it with Dirk, the German guy. He
Uh-huh.
did Source AC here, and yeah, it's pretty sketchy.
The one
Yeah.
that can do off the 100 feet drop. Or...
No, it's a different guy.
Oh.
It's the German guy. That was Paul that did the 100.
Oh, jeez.
Paul kind of disappeared. I don't know what happened to Paul.
Paul, if you're watching this, you need to hit up Norman. He's wondering
right.
where you are.
He got married and has a kid, so
Oh, man.
one of those things.
he
Kinda quit his
got
wildlife.
distracted. He's off on a. I guess that was.
That's
from
what
a
happens.
quest.
Just remember,
Yeah. Once
you
you start
guys are
having
still
kids.
newlyweds, right?
I know.
Yeah,
eight,
it's
8
October.
months.
Yeah.
Something along
Oh
those
my
lines.
God.
October.
Yeah.
You'll be out on the rivers probably during your anniversary, maybe.
October
October
7th
7th, yeah,
when we got
probably.
married. We've been dating just over a year.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Just been together
Quick.
just over a year.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's called the Bible Belt. You know,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
get married off real quick
They
down
do.
there.
Yeah.
Don't be messing around. You just get that done.
Funny.
It's been going pretty good. We've been getting along pretty well.
Yeah, you haven't had any big quarrels on the boat?
No.
Paddling or
A
camping?
couple.
A couple. Yeah. I shouldn't say
couple.
no. A couple. Yeah.
They've all ended
What's
well.
been the biggest challenge?
Oh,
That's a good question.
that is a good question. That's kind of hard.
Um,
Oh, getting in miles is kind of hard because you get tired, especially in the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah.
And like we didn't work out or prepare physically
Yeah.
for this,
You don't
so
need to.
so it's
the
like
first couple weeks.
you'd
are
really like to get
prepared.
miles and you'd really like to get to the next town. You're like, I want to get to this town by this day. And then you either have a slow start or you hit more fences than you thought. And so then it's like, well, we could keep going, but it's 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I'd like to be in bed. And he wants to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, can we
Yeah.
just find a spot
Yeah.
to park?
Or
And
stopping for
go to
lunch.
bed.
She's like, I'm hungry. I'm like, I don't need anything. Go till dark.
yeah,
I'm still
the
good.
food thing
Funny.
might be the trouble because it's so hard to get him to stop so we can eat.
Yeah. I'm just like, let's keep going. I don't have
And
a problem.
actually like get a function thing. I don't know. It's been kind of hard because I really like to work,
Yeah.
and so it's hard to be content.
Yeah.
you're like, is this worth my time?
Yeah.
Am I just wasting time right now? I
Yeah.
should be like doing something productive with
Yeah.
my time. So that's been really hard, kind of mentally.
See, and I'm just like, it will make awesome memories, and when I'm 80 and looking back, I won't regret it. So
Right.
He's not a worker. He likes to do stuff.
Yeah. You guys been writing, like journaling?
So
Kinda
I need
keeping a
to
record
I
of
need to update it.
We've been
but-
taking a lot of video journals,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
I'm not a writer, and I'm severely dyslexic.
Yeah, she
so
wrote
I
a
write
couple
stuff,
days,
and
and I was just like tried reading. I'm like, this is boring, and then I was like, Tim's version.
no, I'm not a writer. And I'm so dyslexic. So then I start writing stuff, and then he's like, "What is that word?" And I'm like, "That's people," but I mix the L and the E, so it's fine.
What's a people?
No, getting along hasn't been too bad.
No, we live in a bus back home, so I mean, we're used to being confined
yeah.
spaces,
Jeez.
you know. So
Great.
Yeah.
And the dog's been great.
yeah,
For the most part,
For the
he's been
most
pretty
part.
easy going. He likes to roll in stinky stuff, and
Oh,
so
man.
a
Hopefully
couple.
you guys don't get a skunk stuck in your tail.
it's mainly poop. So you kind of just gotta throw him in the river when you're holding poop. It's like, you did this to yourself. Sorry, dude. But you gotta get clean.
Yeah.
We washed him at the bicycle place. We
Yeah.
took showers and we washed him because he's been really stinky. He's been sleeping with us though, and he stayed pretty clean.
Honestly, a dog's been pretty nice.
It is cool.
It actually hasn't been. I thought it'd be harder,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. I thought it would be more difficult. Like I've done 3-day trips. Like those are the longest
Yeah.
boondocking trips I've done, and I thought it would be harder. I thought it would be like you'd be so exhausted and you'd be like, I can't keep doing this. But it's actually been really, like, not easy, but not like I'm gonna quit. You know?
Right.
It's not even close to wanting to quit. Really.
Right.
Like, you make jokes like, "Man, I wish I was at home in my own bed," or like, "We should just get done and when we hit the next town, let's go home." But then you hit the next town and there was like, "Nah, I was just messing with you."
Yeah, you battle that the whole way about quitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
a common thing. Like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm done today. Sleep on it.
Like,
Do it
oh,
again the next day.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't do this anymore.
I wonder if Fort Peck is the most common place for people to quit.
I don't know about that.
Or do you think it's like the beginning?
I don't know. Have to
We'd
look
have
at
to look
that.
at that.
Yeah.
Maybe like Wahi or something. I like Wahi. You'd be
I
on
feel
lake
like
or
if
something.
Oh,
you
people-
made it that
yeah.
far, you're already
Yeah.
because it's like the bathtub curve.
Yeah.
If you make it the first section, you're not gonna quit in the middle. You're already halfway
I
there.
always think like the first 3 days of a trip are like the hardest mentally, and then after that you kind
I
of
think
get
you're
it.
right. I think probably the first 3 days, if you can get,
We've made it
yeah.
to the ocean. But no, yeah. What did you find it hard when you paddled upriver, which I assume is a
Yeah, it's
lot
a
harder?
way mental game because you're going so slow.
Yeah, and it's physically a lot more tolling.
Oh yeah, because you gotta keep paddling.
Yeah,
It's
we're
not
gonna
like
keep
you're
going.
drifting. You're
Yeah.
paddling all day long.
There's no napping.
Yes.
So how many miles did you do a day when you paddled up?
So the lower river's kind of broken into 3 sections. You got the upper, like what you've experienced, you know, the drop pool river, you know, drop, ramp.
Yeah.
And then the middle section are kind of reservoirs, different things. And the lower from Sioux City, St. Louis, it's all channelized by the Army Corps of Engineers,
Mhm.
and that's the fastest current down there. So it's also slowest when you're coming upstream.
Yeah.
You can't be out in the middle. You're right tight to shore. I mean, I can put my hand on the shore, 90% of the day. It's after the ferry over to the other side. So I'm that close to shore, and usually in a back eddy or a slack current. You don't want to be out in the current, opposing current. So that lower section, you're going anywhere from 0 if it's a weather day, that averaged about 12 to 16 miles a day, and that would be 12 to 15 hours of paddling.
Wow.
And then the reservoirs, it's kind of neutral because it's the same either way.
So the reservoirs were probably your best friend.
Great, because you could do 40 miles a day.
Yeah.
And that was a long day.
Yeah.
But 25 to 35 was pretty much average. And then once I got into Montana and on the rivers, I was in the best shape by then. I lost 20 pounds. I was lean as hell. And I was making, I think my biggest state from Montana was 23 miles upstream.
Yeah.
And that was a problem. I wasn't tired at all. Busted out of here. Long days though. I was tired from being out in the sun all day. It was not
Yeah.
necessarily tired from battle.
So how many days does that take you?
St. Louis to here is 17 weeks. So whatever that is. 7 times 17, 70, 80, 90, almost 100 days. About. Is that right?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah. Pretty close.
I don't
No, a little over.
It would be. Just speak your phone out. Oh, on mine.
I don't have
Sorry,
17
guys.
weeks.
Yeah.
4 weeks in a month. 16 weeks would be 3 months and a week in a month. So
I don't like doing that,
3 months and a week.
especially on camera.
Yeah,
You sound
no,
like an
no
idiot
math.
if you do
No
it wrong.
math. No math on camera.
Hey, if you guys really want to know what number it is, just 17 times 7.
I started March 23rd. 23rd or 27th.
And you did this in a
March-
canoe, right?
Yeah, hybrid. A lot of people want to see it. It's probably more like a kayak. It's got the stuff there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's see, I think the 27th of March, and I got to the state park here on the last day of like the end of July.
Okay. Was that better because you start really early in the season in the south, so it's probably not too bad in temperature wise.
Yeah,
And
it's
then-
cold. It's kind of like no leaves, vegetation. You know, it's early spring in St. Louis. Nothing was budded out. You know, it's literally springtime. I mean, as you came up, you saw everything sprout and grow. By the time you got here, you almost approaching, late summer here.
Yeah.
And then by the end of my trip, it's fall. And it's going out to Columbia. Leaves are changing. So you got to see the first 3 seasons of it. Anyway.
What was the hardest part of your trip? Like, did you have any close calls or?
Hardest part was the mental game of going so slow.
Yeah.
Because I could walk on shore faster than I could paddle, and
Yeah.
that would really wear on people.
Yeah. That wears on me when we were paddling.
Did you think I gotta go? I'm in St. Louis and I gotta go to Pacific.
Yeah.
What? And I'm going this fast.
Yeah.
So
It's like I'm never gonna make it there.
it was kind of overwhelming the first couple of weeks because I was thinking about getting to the next state or getting to Montana or whatever. I was thinking too far ahead when I should have only been focusing on what I could see.
Yeah.
So after 2 weeks, my focus was the next bend or something ahead of me, like a bridge or a telephone pole, and I would just concentrate on getting there.
Yeah.
And then once I got there, I'd find something to focus on a little further out, and did that all day. So I broke it down. Instead of thinking months ahead, I only thought of 20 minutes ahead or whatever, or an hour ahead. And it made it more, otherwise I would have just probably been
Lost your
locked up
mind.
mental institution.
Yeah.
It definitely psychological, yeah.
Did you hit any bad weather while you were
Oh yeah, lots of bad weather. 2 tornadoes.
2 tornadoes.
2. One ruined my tent in Nebraska, Iowa. I had to get a new tent.
Were you in your tent?
No, I walked to this campground to get a shower, mooch a shower. One came through and hail, like, I went back to my tent and it was like covered with golf ball hail. It was flattened and all the poles were busted.
Huh?
Tree limbs were down. And I guess the tornado, thankfully, it went like 6 miles to the north, but I just experienced all the wind and stuff. And same thing happened somewhere in the Dakotas, another one. Massive amounts of rain. I got 4 inches of rain in like 20 minutes.
Wow.
Never seen it rain so hard in my life. Undermined the tent, so it's like a rubber raft. It was coming up the sides of the tent, and where the zipper is on the tent, it finally reached the zipper and it started pouring through the zipper teeth. It's like, oh my god, it's unbelievable.
I was dying. The weather got
I got out.
You don't even need to get in your boat. You
I
just
was-
get in your tent.
I was digging the trench, trying to divert the water from flooding.
That sounds horrible.
Get used to it. You're gonna have stories
Yeah.
just like this.
Luckily, we've been really lucky with the weather.
You guys have, yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's gonna rain this day, and then it gets to that day, and it's like 15 minutes
Yeah,
of rain. And
yeah.
stuff. All right.
The rain's actually nice. I like paddling in the rain.
Yeah. Especially when it gets warm, I think it's gonna be a lot nicer when the
Yeah,
rain comes
yeah,
through.
totally. You know what's helpful? I don't know if you guys brought is an umbrella, like those big golf umbrellas, you know,
Oh.
big ones. For several reasons, you can use it as a sail.
Uh-huh.
Also, you can use it as shade. 'Cause when you get into eastern Montana till about Iowa, you're gonna have about 1,000 miles of no trees.
Oh yeah.
And if you're stopping for lunch and it's just out in the field and it's 100 degrees, it's nice to pop an umbrella and sit in the shade. Or you can take a nap under those golf umbrellas. Just prop them up and there's enough you can curl behind it in the shade. And another thing I like too, especially in Montana, the Dakotas maybe too. A lot of our afternoon thunderstorms only last like 10 minutes. So instead of getting all your rain gear on and all that, an umbrella, you can do it. Rain goes, put it away. You don't have to switch.
You think we can get an umbrella and
Any town that's got like they sell those golf umbrellas at places like Home Depot and Lowe's, hardware stores, Ace Hardware. Oh yeah, you'd be able to get one. Any hardware store, I've seen them usually out front. Sometimes those bigger sporting goods stores would have them. Yeah, I've seen most of them in hardware stores, believe it or not. Yeah, like you guys are familiar with Home Depot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen them in front of Home Depot. It's usually right where you walk in, up towards the front. They go, and they're cheap. They're only like 10, 12 bucks.
okay.
Get
They-
one each.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really nice.
They have an ace here, but it's a pretty small ace, so
Yeah, I don't think
I
they
don't,
have
I don't
one
think
yet.
they'd have one here. I was just thinking because Great Falls is the only real town in between here and really.
Yeah, you're close to Helena, but not. You'd have to have somebody give you a ride into Helena. Or hitchhike or whatever. It's kind of a maze. The Great Falls. That Josiah Knight guy, I gave you his number. He could take you or whatever you need.
Yeah, no, that would be great because I'm a redhead, so I'm
Yeah, I was
really
just
good.
gonna say you fry. You're gonna want
I've already
the
got
shade.
sunburned twice, and we've been on
Yeah.
a week.
I do want to give you the award. You got the best hair of anybody that's done the
Well,
video.
that is
I'm
normally
serious.
when
You
I
posted
go.
a picture the other day.
Oh
I
yeah,
thought,
my
that is
fro.
so cool.
Oh jeez.
You got the best hair.
Yeah, I usually don't brush it with the kind of hairbrush that we brought, but when you brush it with that, it's
That's great.
a lot
It's
better.
awesome.
But then you look like you have a fro,
Oh,
and
freaking great hair.
yeah,
Great. But yeah, you need to not get burnt.
yeah.
Wear
yeah, I
sunscreen.
got a
It's
sunscreen
helpful to
and I
wear
got sunscreen.
wear this too. A lot of people think wearing this, you actually dehydrate less. You're not going to drink as much water if you're wearing long pants and long shirts.
Yeah. Because that's all.
In a
That's all I
brim
got
hat.
for.
Because you think about it, like if you were to peel an apple, set it in the sun, and then take another apple and don't peel it, which is going to dry out.
Yeah.
One that doesn't have the protective coating, it's going to shrivel up.
No, I didn't bring any short sleeve
Yeah,
shirts.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I guess
great.
I have a Hawaiian shirt from when we're in town, but this is my
Yeah.
full time because it's got
Yeah,
sun protection and then
yeah. You don't
And
want
hat.
to fry it because 5 months in the sun, you don't want to get skin cancer next week.
Yeah. no. The only I've sunburnt my chin because
Gloves.
it's too much.
I wear gloves too
Okay, what
because I
kind of
hate
gloves do you
getting
wear?
just cheap things. I cut the fingers off just so I don't get burnt
Yeah.
here.
Like,
I hate getting burnt. I wear a bandana around here because I hate
Yep.
getting fried on the neck.
Mhm.
Wear a brim hat. I swim a lot when it's really hot because it starts experiencing that. Yeah, you love June and July.
Yeah.
Wow. You jump in the water for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it's muddy as hell, it's is.
You're already dirty.
Yeah,
You'll
exactly.
probably smell better after you.
You
do
know,
too.
and you're gonna realize being out in the clean air and you don't really stink that much.
Yeah.
Like being at home. Seriously, you know, I think I went 21 days without a shower on my trip. I didn't think I smelled at all,
Yeah.
but I could have been wrong.
Did you walk into anywhere and people were like,
Yeah, yeah.
I find that you don't really smell until like you take off your clothing, and then you're like, wow, that clothing was holding the scent
Yeah.
in.
Well,
for
that
you.
yeah, a lot of times it's the clothes. Yeah, change. You can wear different clothes around camp or whatever.
Yeah, we
Put
have a
some
couple
shorts on.
swaps. We've got different like long johns for sleeping.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Should work pretty good. What was your favorite non-necessary item? What's your
Favorite non-necessary item. Maybe the Lewis and Clark journals. I read every day across the whole, all the way to the Pacific. I didn't need them, but since that was kind of my focus, was retracing their route. I read the journals every day.
it helped take your mind off?
Oh yeah, totally. And I read the journals for the section I was in. You know,
Yeah.
which was cool. You can compare the things. If there's anything that's still there,
Yeah.
things they're describing, or whatever, just geology.
Well, they've derouted the river so much too. It doesn't run in all the same ways. As it
Right.
used to, so.
Especially the lower channelized portion below Kansas City.
Yeah. I read one place that's like hundreds of miles further than it used to be.
No, it's not that far.
Really?
No,
I don't
yeah.
know. That's what I read.
Nah. Not hundreds, no way. Yeah,
Now we gotta track this.
Different story mixed
We
up.
need to figure this
I
out.
don't know. Maybe that was. I don't know. I think that was just really.
We'll have
Yeah.
to look it up.
Because I know the oxbow lakes that have been made and stuff. And
Yeah,
the
they're
river
not,
used
they're
to
not
run.
100 miles.
Yeah.
Well, you might be
Like when
thinking
you-
pre-ice age. The Missouri actually
Yeah.
flowed into northern during the Saskatchewan.
And up
then went
into
that
the.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that's even 400 miles off the original route.
Yeah. Maybe that's what they were talking about. But I just
Yeah,
read
yeah.
that somewhere.
It's, when you reach now, as the Missouri's coming together here, the three rivers, the Jefferson, Madison, and Gallatin become the Missouri, you're going north for a week and a half.
Yeah.
You're going straight towards Canada. And then when you get up there, you're going to follow the Canadian border east for 600 miles before you even start.
Yeah. It's been entertaining. You gotta go north to go south.
Yeah.
But
That might be what you're thinking.
That might be
because
what
the pre-glacier went up into Canada and flowed into the Saskatchewan River. And then that last ice age pushed the river down to its present location.
so what do you do on your what's your job for everybody? Because I thought you might be an archaeologist. or
Brain
something.
surgeon? No, believe it or not, I don't know window cleaning business.
Yeah. When you told me that, I was like, really? I
Yeah.
thought he was like an archaeologist or something.
No, it's the best thing. This is year 34.
Yeah.
Allows me to take 5 to 7 months of holiday off a year.
Yeah.
So basically work 6 months. I also guide river trips in the breaks. I do week-long canoe trips for a company out of Fort Benton. We take anywhere from 8 to 24 people out on a week trip. Usually 3 to 5 guys per trip. Do that. And this past winter, I actually worked in Yellowstone National Park. I drove Snow Coach, which is the overland snow vehicles. They don't plow the roads in the winter, so they have these big tired vehicles called snow coaches that take people into the park. It's the only way to get in unless you're on snowmobile.
Yeah.
So I guided snow coach tours this winter.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Fun thing that really worked and made this something fun to do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is fun to do stuff like that. I've been thinking about it'd be fun to be like a camp host for a summer.
Camp host, yeah, find a cool campground.
Yeah.
I know people that have done that. There's a lot of cool jobs.
There's an
Yeah,
endless
let's-
amount of work too.
yeah.
I mean, we figured that out. We got
Yeah.
a job for 2 days.
That's right. Welding. That surprised me when I heard you both were welders. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, what are the odds of that?
He went to college to be a welder. I've just been welding since I was 9. I did that for work in the
Help with your
summer.
dad, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
It worked out good. I was the richest 9-year-old because I was
making posts.
Yeah, they make good
welding.
money. I bet.
Yeah, you do make pretty good money for being a welder.
There's also a lot of expenses too. But
It does pay pretty.
I got into welding when I was really little, not real like teenager,
Uh-huh.
and I looked into the career of underwater welding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you
It
go
pays
under
good, yeah.
and weld under on ships or whatever and stuff. 'Cause back in the '80s, those guys were making $400 an hour. That was the wage. That was 40 years ago. I don't know what they're making now.
Do you know, Tim?
I have no clue.
You have a friend that does that.
Kind of intrigued me. $400 an hour.
Well, my friend that does it, he's in the army, so he's an army diver,
Yeah.
and he's trained for underwater welding and
yeah,
everything, but that's not his.
It's
So,
not his main thing.
so he works for the army, so he
Yeah,
gets paid whatever
he's
they
doing
pay
it-
him. Yeah.
doing it
Do you have any big plans for this summer for canoeing?
No big trips. Just back on the river guiding. Yeah, so nothing planned. Maybe a boring summer.
Yeah.
Watching
Hopefully
everybody
not.
else
Watching
go.
you guys deal with the
Power through Fort Peck.
power through,
and all the
keeping
canoe.
you guys in line.
Yeah, texting us up. You're not
Going
gonna
the
cross
wrong
that.
way.
Go back.
Yeah.
40-mile-an-hour wind. Don't do that. No dying on my watch.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to call the National Guard. Okay.
Hopefully we don't.
Yeah, don't.
No, we're not gonna do
And
that.
we always wear our life jackets. And
Always.
everything, so,
Seriously, you never know what can happen.
No.
When I encountered those tornadoes in the Dakotas, I even slept in the sleeping bag at night. Bad tornado warnings. Is that in case I got
Sucked
blown in the water, thrown in, a mile into the lake? I wouldn't be there.
in. You were going insane, weren't you?
I kid you not. I slept with my legs open.
Yeah.
He wasn't afraid of the bears.
Yeah.
The tornadoes.
Yeah, tornadoes.
Maybe that's why everybody does the Mississippi and not the Missouri, because they're not.
They're not really in tornado alley. A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Sometimes they get into the hurricanes late season, which you guys will have too. If you-
Yeah, we're gonna be in hurricane season
Yeah.
when we get down.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they've caused a lot of people to actually stop because they're
Yeah.
coming inland there, up New Orleans there, all the way up into the
How long do hurricanes normally last? I've never lived in
two,
it.
2 months.
Uh,
Like, what?
it's hurricane season. Yeah.
But do they are they repetitive? Like, could you just take like a week off and then
Oh, yeah.
go and finish? Because
Oh
the
yeah,
last
you
section
could
doesn't
because
take
it's
very
not
long.
like the spot. You never know where they're going to get.
Yeah.
Once it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah, no. But you have a day warning normally, don't you?
Oh yeah, you'll know.
If they're gonna hit. I just
You can have all kinds of people texting you on that. The heck off
Hey,
the
there's a
water.
hurricane coming. Go home.
go home. Go back to Nebraska where they don't have hurricanes.
See, but if they do get a hurricane and everything's flooded, we'll be in a canoe.
Yeah, we
we
can
can just keep
Yeah,
going.
paddling in town. There's a guy, Andy Bew, who's in our group, paddled. Well, he started at Browers, or pretty close, kind of up where you did.
Yeah.
And then ended up coming back down and then down in Dillon there, I think. 2010, and that's a huge flood year on the Missouri River. It was like 4 miles wide in spots up around Omaha.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
in the fields. And,
Everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember this.
I would have been 7.
I
We
would
had
have
a
been
heck of
10,
a time
so.
finding camps, too.
Yeah, I bet. It would be like all marshland.
Can't even recall the stories.
It
Even all the way
would
to
be
the
rough.
Dome.
You can
The
sleep in
tire
your
can-
boat, I guess.
Yeah, just tie your boat up to one of the trees so you don't
Yeah,
float down
yeah,
and sleep
yeah.
in there.
Just probably pull that off.
I'd be kind of
It
sketchy.
depends
but-
on what did he do. Did he do or kind
He had it was on a hybrid boat too. It's an Eddie
Oh.
Line Shasta.
Huh?
There's quite a few people who use on this river. Janet Moreland used one. Jack Cool used one. There's a few others. They're
Yeah.
open cockpit, but
Oh, yeah.
also foot control rudder.
That'd be kind of
Uh, yeah, 2010 was a huge flood year.
So why do you think the majority of people choose those hybrids? Just because they're faster? Or...
I talked them into it.
Yeah.
Are you a hybrid salesman?
Yeah, kind of. That's a good job.
That's your job.
I don't know if I talked. I think Janet Moreland. Well, Andy talked Janet into buying one, and Janet did her source to see, and then Janet sold hers to Bob Bellingham, who's from Australia, did the river the next year in it,
Uh-huh.
in hers, and then Jack Cool saw their trips and bought one. So there's at least one more headline. It's not too expensive. 1,000, 1,800. Job done.
Probably a little faster than...
Yeah,
The
a
canoe.
little faster.
Do kayaks normally go faster than the canoes?
Yeah, if you're in 17, 18, 19 feet kayaks, a little faster. Unless you're a rural algae paddler. If you don't have any kayaking experience, well, you could be floundering around the tube. In general, kayaks are really faster. Able to take a little more water over the top.
Yeah.
If you guys want to fill in your boat,
Getting flooded,
you
yeah.
don't want that. It's over.
I mean, it's not a good day.
Not a
Not
good
a
day. You
That's-
guys got a bail bucket?
We forgot.
You did. Oh, what's it? I got like
So-
20 of them in the garage. Yeah.
So we went through that one. There's a little drop underneath the bridge on the Beaverhead,
Yep.
and like the first day we were on the Beaverhead, we took on a little bit of water because it was white water and some special good amount actually.
It's because
So we
I
just used
corrected wrong.
socks. We just
Oh.
used socks.
Yeah, it's
to
another
bring
thing. You
them out,
got
that
a
kind of
sponge. You don't have a sponge.
No,
You need a
didn't bring
bail
a sponge
bucket
either.
and a big sponge.
No,
Yeah,
we
we
forgot.
forgot both.
Oh.
I know.
And the hysterical thing is, we went to one of those boat checks
Yeah.
that you have to go to,
Uh-huh.
and they
he
gave us
asked
a sponge, and we just said,
It just blanked us.
blanked us out.
Yep.
Oh,
Until you
funny.
didn't
Yep.
think about it.
So now we've just been
You
using
just need
socks.
to go to a store, buy a
Trial sponge.
jug of something, to
Oh,
drink,
yeah, yeah.
gallon of water or Gatorade or whatever, cut it, and just cut the bottom off.
Yeah, we have a
Tie
couple.
some string onto it,
Uh-huh.
and then get one of those big sponges somewhere at a hardware store.
Yeah, those things we just space them off, and it's like, yeah, we need stuff for in town, and
Yeah.
then we still proceed
Yeah.
to
We should
space
go
it.
get one. The
Yeah.
A store would definitely have a.
Funny when I asked, I asked, you guys need anything?
Yeah.
We're
That's
kind of.
kind of what I meant.
scattered,
Anything.
right?
Do you need more tent space? or-
Yeah, we totally we've been in town for a couple days now.
Yeah.
We still haven't been spacing
Well,
it
it's
off.
not
you know?
huge critical. You'll
No.
get one between here and
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have
here and
we have
there.
things to bail if we needed. Like
Yeah.
we have a food bowl that you could bail, and we have water bottles and stuff.
Yeah.
And we haven't really interacted with any white water, or not
Yeah.
a lot of water intake. So
Yeah, you're not really going to unless you get the big storm
Yeah.
on a choppy lake or something.
but no, I think legally in Nebraska you have to have a sponge. I'm not sure
Yeah.
You have to have a bailing device.
which we
Or if it rains real hard, you can leave the water.
we should put that on the list.
Yeah.
We kind of forget things, and we're those kinds of people that will be like, if it's necessary, you'd remember it, and sometimes that's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So far, we haven't forgotten
guys
a
will-
lot.
You guys will gel into whatever happens. It'll work.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah, we just kind of make stuff happen, and we're cautious, but
We're easygoing.
we're yeah, exactly.
We're
Yeah,
not-
it's funny because a lot of the comments, I'll try to read your blog and I'll try to decipher clues
Yeah.
or from your comments. Hey, must be doing the right thing. They weren't complaining about that.
No,
Or I
They
saw that
haven't done
picture
that.
of Parrot Castle, that
Uh-huh.
building thing there, and where that rapid is. And saying about that either.
we
Totally-
love the rapids.
Totally
They're fun.
swamped
Yeah.
there and didn't want to let anybody
Oh,
go.
No, we
or-
haven't swamped at all yet. No. We
if
almost
something
tipped over.
happens, that's when we'll say something. But nothing. If we don't say anything, we're probably good.
We don't really like to complain, and if we did swamp, it would probably be more, unless it was like, no, we don't really like to complain. So it would be like, we swamped, it was funny.
Yeah.
We didn't get on video though, we're so sad.
Yeah.
It was a waste of a swamp.
Yeah.
We'll have to swamp again.
Like whenever Whiskey
Hopefully
decides to go overboard, it's just like, darn, we didn't get that on
Hopefully
video.
not that bridge, the Keith Lynch bridge I told you about a couple
Just
miles
down.
down. Don't hit that.
We'll
Yeah.
turn on our video. At least it won't be a waste.
Give it
Yeah.
a salute to Keith. I just texted him this morning about that. 10th year anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a kick out of that story.
Hopefully, yeah, I read that story. It was really interesting on Facebook. I was like, wow, that's really neat. It's like there's Norman Goes being the hero, showing up to find stuff.
Between me and Chris and maybe a few others, Will Garvin or Jimmy Manuel, we've saved a lot of people up here. Oh my God. Yeah, another kid, there's another one that I just thought, I can't even think of his name. Bought a canoe in Bozeman, $3,000 canoe. The store owner drove him to the foot in at Three Forks. He didn't go more than an hour and flipped. We know exactly, when I got a call from him, Chris and I looked at each other and knew exactly what he flipped. He didn't even have to tell us. It's like, oh yeah. It's like two currents come together there. It's really weird.
Uh-huh.
And but he was in, boat flipped over, gear gone, just hanging on, and it's snowing out. Freaked out. That was the end of his trip. Hour and a half ago.
Yeah, we haven't got snowed on, which I'm really thankful because we didn't bring
When I was on the Yukon, I got snowed on for like 10 minutes. It was the weirdest thing because it was a nice, like 70-degree day. It was like one of the warmest days I
Yeah,
was up
yeah.
there. And then all of a sudden it just started snowing. It's like, where did this come from? The sky's still blue.
One thing we did also forget is real coats. So I'm glad it didn't snow.
Yeah, what's the warmest clothes you got?
We've got 2 sets of long johns, so you
Yeah.
can layer up, and that's pretty good. They're wool
I
long
mean, like,
johns. And
fleece or
then-
down vest or anything,
Nope,
or
nope.
hat or gloves?
I
or-
have a hat and I have a pair of gloves. He
And you
does not
haven't
have
been
a hat.
cold?
No.
I think you'll be all right. I think we're out of our cold now.
Yeah.
No, when you posted
50.
pictures of that guy getting snowed on, or
Yeah.
he posted pictures
Yeah.
of him getting snowed
Yeah.
on, I was just like, I'm so glad because we don't have the right
Yeah,
equipment
wow,
for
see, I
snow.
wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, we got 15-degree sleeping bags, so I mean, the
Well,
cold
that's
nights
good
are-
enough. There you go.
Yeah.
So we should be able to take it
Yeah.
if we could stop and
Yep.
get dry. But no, we didn't bring real coats for. I mean, back in Nebraska, it hasn't frozen since
End of April.
end of April. We
Yeah,
haven't gotten
yeah.
a frost. So
Mm.
when you go from there to here, it's a lot different.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely warm now. It's supposed to be like this for a few days at least.
Yeah, 80s. It's really warm.
Yeah.
Too hot for me, but I like 70s.
Yeah.
I'm a 70.
It is a little warm. If you're not in the shade, it is very warm. But
When I was younger, I used to love the 80s and stuff, but nowadays, like my 70, high 60, low 70
Yeah,
degree days. It's not perfect.
yeah. Do you have any more questions? Do you have any questions?
I may save them for when I'm going to put you on video.
Oh, okay. We could set up our microphones too on your phone, and you could have really fancy stuff.
Oh.
That is one thing you guys need to work on when you do your guys' videos is having a little better sound. Like when you do your Q&As.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who have background noise going.
Oh.
Oh, it bothers me so much.
Oh, it does. Especially what a cluster that last one was.
It was pretty bad.
I couldn't have audio out of the one computer, so I had to turn my other one on. I don't know if you even saw that.
Yeah, I heard that. You were talking
It's
about
like,
that. You were having
What
problems.
a
It's hard to get electronics to work. That's why I'm a huge fan of not having any, like, Skype calls where you have people
Yeah.
from other places. People should be in person
yeah.
because that leg is so frustrating to
Yeah,
watch.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just, it is a
I
pain in the
bet.
butt.
Oh,
Yeah.
good to know.
You guys should get together sometime, all the people who have, like, actually done it and, like, have a
Yeah.
conversation. That'd be
Like
really
when you do the
interesting.
rendezvous or something, you know, just have
Yeah,
like a
if you
couple
guys
of
come, we'll
guys.
set up our cameras and our mics and we
Yeah.
can have it.
Okay,
we can have-
you're in charge.
Yeah.
That's it.
That would be
You're
fun.
the First volunteer.
We might need a couple more microphones, or we might split it up into smaller groups of
Yeah.
people so that
Oh, you'd be
talking.
interviewing the whole time. 7 paddlers.
That would be fun. We could interview like.
Yeah, just have the camera going the whole time. All right, next.
Next. We might not want to do that. We
Yeah.
might want to turn it out a little bit because you would get
I
exhausted.
can't wait to see what it comes up out of.
We'll see how it turns out.
Hopefully, it works out. This point is a little worrisome, but these should.
You've been doing scenic videos too as you're going along, or you're fishing.
We've done some
Wildlife?
fishing videos.
Yeah.
Very
We're kind of,
minorly.
we're kind of new to try and get footage of everything, so it's like
Yeah,
We've
we're
missed
doing
a
stuff
lot.
and forgetting to record it.
yeah.
But
We've hit some
Pretty
white water
excited.
that I'm really sad we didn't record because, like, we came around one bend right after the first diversion dam that we had at Portage,
Yeah.
and it's really narrow, and there's some rocks there, and so it's really rough.
Yeah.
And we come around the bend, and then I'm not used to white water, so I'm like, oh crap, I need to be ready, and we didn't record it, and I was so sad because it was
Oh, wow.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
yeah, it was a pretty long trip. I
There's
mean,
been
compared to all the other ones,
Yeah.
it's been pretty long.
And then we didn't get really any good pictures of the moose because you're kind of moving and it's
And it
hard to get
happens so
stuff
quick as you
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
pull over and get out the camera bit. But
out. Or even just reach around and turn it off. And that camera doesn't have a very good close up. We've been
Yeah.
trying to. We're trying to get together some pretty good videos.
Cool.
and then we got our Nikon for pictures. So
Yeah. Nice.
And that works pretty good. When we
Keep it
actually
up.
try.
Keep posting pictures on the Facebook.
We're-
page,
we're
too.
gonna
Appreciate
try.
it.
it's pretty sweet.
We do whenever we have internet, which is,
Yeah.
or whenever we have cellular, which we've had pretty much the whole time. We've only had a couple
That's
days.
gonna
where we didn't.
change here pretty soon.
Yeah, you'll have it until. Right.
And then there'll just be a little gap that we won't be able to post. Post them later. We're learning.
All right.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
I need to drink some water.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for the interview.
Yeah. No, this is great. Well, hopefully it turned out right.
I'm gonna get a picture. I'm gonna just get some photos of you guys too. I'm gonna put them on the thing today.
Hopefully that turned out right.
Okay.
Hey, it was an hour and 30. That's